Good morning or good afternoon, depending on what time of day it is. So, today we are going to be continuing our study of the Cold War in Unit 13, and we are going to be talking about the roots of the Cold War. So, if you think about a root, you think about what started something or where something starts if you're thinking about plants. And growth and things like that. So if you will go to slide 9, I believe it is, find this slide in your Cold War notebook. We're going to follow along here. It says, what is the Cold War? So if you think about cold, we are not talking about a war that took place during the winter and during a cold season. We're talking more really about a war of words, and maybe a war where someone might give you the cold shoulder, so to speak, where you might be ignored if they see you, or you both see each other and you don't speak, and it's kind of tense situation, and that's what we're talking about. And that word tension is actually in the definition. The Cold War is a state of tension without actually fighting between the United States or the U.S. and the Soviet Union or the SU, which divided the world into two camps. This was a war of words. And if you remember the other day, I talked to you about Uncle Sam being very symbolic of the United States and a bear being very symbolic of the Soviet Union. And so you can see this division here between the United States and the Soviet Union in this little political cartoon image. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union, we have the U.S. in blue in one corner and the Soviet Union in red in the other corner. And they had differences in things that they believed in and their goals and ideologies. And ideology is a fancy word, say fancy, for an idea. And they had differences in 4 areas, and they're marked right here: in our government, in our economy, in our policies, our laws, and our memberships in things that we joined and were a part of. So this Iron Curtain, if you can imagine a curtain being drawn, that phrase, Iron Curtain, was used to talk about the division between the eastern side of the world, the Eastern Hemisphere with the Soviet Union and its control that it had over the East, and the western side of the hemisphere and its control that it had of the West, or not control, but power and influence. So the Iron Curtain was created by the Soviet Union after World War II to seal off and separate itself and its Eastern and Central European allies that it had control over from open contact with the Western side, which would be our side of the world, and those that were considered non-communist. Okay, so we're going to check out the chart here on this slide, and on the following slide that display the differences between the United States and the Soviet Union. And in which country do you think people had a better life during the Cold War? So in the United States, our type of government is democratic. We're not talking politics and Democrat versus Republican. We're talking a democracy, which is ruled by the people. Our citizens vote and help make decisions, and that would be freedoms, okay? In the Soviet Union, the government is a dictatorship where the power to govern and rule is led by one person, a dictator. Our economy is called capitalism, and that's a system based on competition, profit, and private ownership of businesses. Like you can start, run, operate, and profit from starting your own business. In the Soviet Union, the economy is based on communism, which is a type of government and economic system where individuals do not own land. The government owns property.